Hello and welcome to Public Conscience, the interactive anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. I am Adaobi Obiabumo with Okiria Agbonsuremi.
I'm so glad to be here today, and I must appreciate Adaobi Obiabumo and the team for holding the brief all this while that I have been away and producing from behind and allowing them to do the job. And the spelling of Primorg to assist you get our handle is PRIMORG.
On Public Conscience, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society by drawing government and citizens' attention to corruption reports and issues for prompt democratic actions against them. We also promote integrity by amplifying rare cases of the display of honesty by public and private individuals. We sincerely appreciate the MacArthur Foundation for supporting the production of this program.
And today is special because we have a special focus on Nigeria's fight against corruption, its impact on the nation, the efforts by the civil society organizations, the media, and the MacArthur Foundation in strengthening public accountability, transparency, and participation. I must add that we have a big man in the house who is joining us from the MacArthur Foundation. We will unveil him in a short while.
Definitely. It is common knowledge today that corruption runs through every level of the Nigerian government system and structures, from contracting fraud at the top, through petty bribery, money laundering schemes, embezzlement, and extortion of citizens. According to a 2024 report by the Center for the Study of Economics of Africa, Nigeria is losing approximately $18 billion yearly to corruption.
The MacArthur Foundation has been playing a significant role in addressing systemic issues and helping Nigeria on its path towards corruption reduction, better governance, transparency, and social progress. In the last 30 years, the foundation has been supporting the country's strategic efforts in several areas such as reproductive health, education, human rights, governance, health, and combating corruption. Through its own Nigeria initiative launched in 2014, the MacArthur Foundation aimed to reduce corruption by supporting investigative journalism and independent media ecosystem to counter public sector fraud. Primorg is a proud beneficiary of the MacArthur Foundation's support and our partner media organizations, whose investigative reports are amplified on this program. They include the Premium Times, the International Center for Investigative Reporting, ICIR, the Cable Online, and the Daily Trust, to mention just a few. And they get support from the MacArthur Foundation to do their job.
Still within the Foundation's support in collaboration with Accountability Lab Nigeria, we have been celebrating citizens who displayed integrity in their daily lives and in so doing encourage millions of Nigerians to maintain high moral and ethical standards. But in the midst of all these efforts, it remains saddening that corruption, impunity, and mismanagement of public funds continue to deprive citizens access to quality public services and accountable governance. But for you out there who is a Nigerian, how worried are you about the impact of corruption in Nigeria? How best can the Nigerian government reduce the rate of corruption? And do you think we need new strategies or approaches to build a better and less corrupt nation? And as an individual, what are you doing in your own little sphere to promote integrity principles in your little corner?
And we encourage you to be ready to join us through phone calls and text messages during this conversation, which proposes to be very interesting. And the WhatsApp number line to send your messages is 090-2265-6167. That is 090-2265-6167. And please indicate your name and your location when sending your messages. This number is for messages only.
Please, we encourage you to send your messages as soon as possible to 090-2265-6167. That is 090-2265-6167. We will give out the numbers to call shortly.
Definitely, we want you to be part of the program. And if you're just joining us, the focus is on the fight against corruption in Nigeria in the last decade and the efforts of the MacArthur Foundation, civil society media, and others in combating corruption in the country. Remember that we have had ICPC, we have EFCC, all of them joining hands with the Code of Conduct, the NFIU, all of them working to stop corruption in Nigeria. And joining us to examine this great topic we have today, the anti-corruption fight, effort to combat it, and the persistent challenges in Africa, in Nigeria, is the Africa Director of MacArthur Foundation, Dr. Kole Shetima. You're all welcome to the program. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
you very much. I remember that the very first episode of this program, you were with us.
Yes, I remember. That was years ago.
Years ago, and about 5.5 years ago, you joined us along with a Friday day of accountability lab. And we have done a lot of accountability reporting, analysis, amplification. We have done a lot about anti-corruption, amplifying it, and with the support of the MacArthur Foundation, we have had a great deal of understanding what corruption is and trying to create some impact. Thank you again for joining us on the program.
Well, let's start by commending the MacArthur Foundation for its over 3 decades of supporting various development works in Nigeria. How significant is this milestone to the foundation?
Well, I think that both of you, or at least I think maybe Austin was at the 30th anniversary celebration of the foundation. That was in October. For us, I think the 30 years of working with the Nigerian people and trying to support the work that Nigerians were doing, I think is one of the most important things that we have done. I think that we see ourselves as friends of Nigeria and the friends of the Nigerian people. I recall that during the military period, when many of the other donors and funding agencies left Nigeria, I think that the MacArthur stayed the course because we believe that our work is more about the Nigerian people than the Nigerian government at that time. So for us to mark that 30th anniversary and to bring together several of our grantees and former colleagues that we have worked together was was momentous. It was a reunion of so many decades. And I think that all of us were excited that evening, or that afternoon actually, to celebrate that occasion.
Now, let's take a look at the All Nigeria project, which has really the support for the Nigeria media, the civil society, the anti-corruption agencies, the universities, in building up the systems to be able to train journalists and all the other things we have done in the last 10 years or thereabout. To reduce corruption by supporting all the Nigerian-led efforts to strengthen accountability, transparency, and integrity. What is your assessment of the project as it is coming to a conclusion? Sad to know that it is coming to a conclusion. What is your assessment?
So, that question was the question that I also asked the president of the foundation. I said, look, it is very difficult to ask a mother to choose among her children or to talk about them. So with that caveat, I will say that I think that from my own perspective, I think that what we have seen is the growth of the accountability ecosystem in Nigeria. In your own intro, you talk about all the groups that you are working with. Now that is an indication of the length and the breadth and the depth of the people that we have supported in this country. I truly believe that that kind of collaboration, that kind of work, that kind of strengthening of the ecosystem is something that is very, very significant, and I believe that that ecosystem will continue in one form or the other in order to continue to push in support of accountability in our country. I think that one of the indicators for me, which I was so excited, was that in 2023 there was a survey that was conducted by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics in collaboration with the UNODC, and it says that 70% of Nigerians who were asked to give bribe refused to give bribe. Now that is to me as an indication of the attitude of Nigerians toward bribery, that they are willing to resist it, that they are becoming increasingly aware that bribery, corruption is wrong, and that they should not participate in that process, and they are willing to take whatever risk in order for them to do that one. But what is also very interesting was that the report reported that about 32% of the people who reported that they were being asked to give bribe, there was no any negative consequences on them. So which also tells me that government anti-corruption agencies are also becoming more responsive. That when you complain against corruption, it doesn't mean that people should be punished because of that one as well. So that to me is just one indicator of why this work is worthwhile, and to see that sadly it's coming to an end. But I hope that Nigerians will still continue to do the work that is necessary to do this work.
Now, there's always this question that we are being asked when they say the MacArthur Foundation is wrapping up on the All Nigeria project. Is it because they are not getting the kind of result? It's really difficult to support the anti-corruption war in Nigeria. But you have just explained that despite what appears to be low in the physical result we get in the fight against corruption, but the behavior is changing. We are seeing some attitude that is changing as a result of the war. But let me ask again, so that it comes from you. Do you think that all the funds, the support, and everything you have given, do you think the result you actually got is commensurate with what you expected, with what you are putting? Is it your expectation?
So I think it depends upon what are you measuring really. Yeah. Because first of all, the foundation position is that we are going to contribute towards reduction of corruption. It was never our position that we are going to eradicate corruption. And we are also saying that it is going to take a longer term perspective. That is a goal. You know that as a goal, you always look at the long term. So, but you also have some intermediate steps that you see in terms of what is changing. And I think that in terms of what is changing in the immediate environment, I think we see those changes. Would that lead to a long term? No. Nobody has ever said that MacArthur Foundation is going to reduce corruption or eradicate corruption in Nigeria in 8 years or so. That is not possible. That's not realistic. I believe that in almost every country of the world, there are elements of corruption that is happening, even in the best of scenarios. So I think that what we can all do is to see how do we contribute towards reducing the menace of corruption in our society. And on that goal, I think that I would say yes. Now, for example, if you take one indicator and you say, okay, how much money, as you asked, looking at the quantum of resources that the foundation has, and that's a lot of money. But also, if you look
can you put a figure on that?
I can't point a figure at this point. But if you compare it with also how much of money have been recovered by, let's say, ICPC or EFCC in terms of constituency project, for example, you can see that if you compare the money that we have supported, for example, the anti-corruption agencies and what they have recovered through the constituency and executive projects recovery, you will see that really our money is not that very significant. Because if you look at the data that, for example, the new chairman of the ICPC has given in his first year of being in office and what we have supported him during that period, you find out that our support is less than 10% of what they have recovered.
That's impressive. But in reducing corruption through the All Nigeria project, the foundation chose the media. So why did the foundation choose the media, and how important has the media been in the execution of the All Nigerian project?
Yes, thank you, Adobe. So I think that we are doing 4 things in this work, and I think that's very important to always to focus on that. Fighting against corruption requires different tools. Okay, there is the support that we give to the media, which is important. There is work that we are doing around strengthening of the criminal justice system, which is important. There is work that we are doing around behavioral change that we have indicated. But there is work that we also do with support for civil society. So for us, it's about 4-pronged attack about this problem, because it is extremely difficult to approach any problem from just one single hit. You have to approach it from different. Now, we chose the media because we believe that investigative journalism is critical and very important, because it enables the journalists and the newspapers and others to be able to spend a lot of time and resources to investigate issues that probably under normal situation they will not have the resources, they will not have the time, they will not have the whatever it takes for them to do hardcore investigations, which I think is critical and very important. So as you are very much aware of, I think that even in our constitution, there is provision of the constitution that identifies the media at the 4th estate of our state. So that is a constitutional responsibility. So we think that accountability journalism is critical and very important, so that journalists will be able to hold duty bearers responsible and accountable for the actions and what they do and other things. And I think that in doing that work, I am very happy that I can say that, probably we support up to like 70 media-related organizations in this country. And some of them, as you have indicated, are in the university, which is trying to look at the free service system of even the journalism media. So because, you need to look at the pipeline, through which these people are recruited, and how do you support that pipeline to be better than what those who are in the service are doing and other things as well. And so looking at the totality of the media work and the media organization that we are supporting, I think that the work that you people are doing in connection with collaboration with either the Cable or Daily Trust or SERAC or SERAP and all those organizations are doing, I think shows to us the importance of supporting investigative journalism, but also realizing that journalism is journalism. There is a thin line that you have to be that newspapers and others are really, so to speak, one story per day kind of organizations. So you need the support of civil society groups and organizations that will enable the work that journalists and others are doing to come to fruition. Because if you leave it alone for the journalists, that they themselves do not have the bandwidth to continue to do the advocacy that is required in order to see some of the results that we are seeing.
Now, sir, you mentioned two things just now. You talk about collaboration. You talk about the so many medias, over 70. If you put all of them together, we have been working also in this group. Primorg is also one of those groups where we have been supporting. And there's a lot of anxiety because of the cost of investigation, the cost of training that you have put in the last years. We are looking at sustainability for these media houses. If the On Nigeria project is ending, how much of sustainability have they tried to build over these years, and are we sure that we are not going to have a collapse investigations of corruption, and that we're going to go back to Egypt, as they used to say, in this effort? What is the thoughts of MacArthur Foundation in this area?
Well, our thought is clear that I hope we don't go back to Egypt. I hope that there's significant investment that have been made in the organizations that we have been supporting. I'm hoping that there is significant support that we have investment that have been made in the human beings that are there in the organizations. I hope that there is sufficient investment in the collaboration and the collaborative work that the media organizations are doing. So yes, I can understand that maybe the tempo and the level of the work that was there before might not be here now going forward. But I'm also hoping that the investment that have been made in the people, in the organizations, and the networks will be able to maintain some of these momentum that have been established. I'm also hoping that organizations can also look at other forms of resources and other things. The reality with foundations and like ours and others is that our investments are always time bound. It is not in perpetuity.
Yes,
it's something that has to come to an end at a certain point. And I believe that, and I think that when we started the work, we are very clear that this is going to be a time-bound, time-limited investment. I think that it is a warning that has been issued from the first day of the work itself. So I'm sure it's not a surprise for most organizations that this is what is going to happen.
Well, for Primorg, it was not a surprise, but yet we still got a lot of anxiety. And to confirm that you did a lot with the various groups in helping them to sustain themselves. So much funds were also given out to organizations, including Primorg, and today we are proud that with the funds that was given to us, part of the funds that were given to us, we were able to secure our own offices, so we are not paying rent as usual. That's a huge sustainability this achievement we have gotten. So tomorrow we are able to go to our offices, sit down, do our proposals, do our work, and do our project, and we appreciate the MacArthur Foundation for this. Now let me just quickly ask this: why do you think from the work you have done, despite these little flowers of success you talked about, why do you think the anti-corruption war in Nigeria doesn't lead to yield that big result that we are expecting that there will be? So yesterday, you and I were at the West African conference on whistleblowing. We have been asking for the government to enact a law that will support Nigerians, protect Nigerians who are blowing the whistle. There's a drag. There's a drag in arresting people who are mentioned in stories. We bring reports to this place, we have amplified them and said this social money has been stolen, or social effort is being made to steal, or nothing is done. Why are we not getting the kind of big impact result we should have, or we expect to have in Nigeria?
Well, I think that maybe there are one or two things that I can say on that one. One is that, corruption is also about political interest. Fighting corruption is also about political interest. So it depends upon which governments are in power, who are people in authority and other things, and whether this is something that they really, really want to fight or not. So my general sense is that, we have to focus on the fact that, there is a political interest in fighting corruption,
yes,
and that if the political interest is not interested in fighting corruption, I think that there are certain things that we can do, but we should not also expect that things will just be changing overnight. The other thing I think also want to point out is that it also really behold upon all of us as Nigerians to do the fight. I think that organizations can do that, but at the end of the day, it's the Nigerian people that really have to fight through the electoral process, through their own other forms of conveying their unhappiness about the situation. So at the end of the day, also the Nigerian people also have to put the pressure on governments and those people who are duty bearers in order to push the government to do what is the right thing to do. So I think that the political structures that we have, it depends upon that one as well. I think that, yes, there were a lot of high hopes that, this is going to happen. There's going to be significant and major changes to happen. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the kind of major changes will happen. But, these major changes also happen really through an electoral process.
Yes.
So unless the electoral process is also able to fix that kind of problem, I think that the advocacy work that we do, yes, it will have some impact and it will have some changes that will happen in some agencies and other things, but not everything that will happen as a result of what we do. But I think for me the most important change that will happen is through the electoral process, when Nigerians decide that they want to have a clean government and are willing to stick their neck and to vote for a clean government. That is, I think that's when the change will happen.
Okay. Now, for those who are out there, we have the big man in the house, the Africa Director, MacArthur Foundation, Dr. Kole Shetima. The foundation has been doing a lot in Nigeria to support the anti-corruption war by supporting civil society groups and making sure that media is strengthened and the civil society is also strengthened. In addition to the effort by the foundation to support government's own anti-corruption agencies. And that will be, I think you have an answer before we open the phone. We are going to open the phone shortly because we know you are anxious to ask your question and make your contributions. But that will be, we'll just ask this question and then we'll open the phone for you to call in.
Okay, Doctor, in your last submission, you talked about changing the narrative through electoral process. But what more do you think can be done differently to strengthen and sustain the anti-corruption efforts post the MacArthur Foundation on Nigeria project?
Well, I'm hoping that, as I said, the work that all of you who are here are doing in trying to report on these issues, follow up on the issues that you are following up with, and also connecting with the other organizations that you have been working with. I think that is certainly one area that I think that we hope that would continue to see that the ecosystem continues and other things. I hope that there are other funders and other agencies and other donors who will also be interested in this kind of work and will be able to join you and join others in trying to support the work that all of you are doing and other things. But I think that we as individual Nigerians, I think we also have our own responsibilities in terms of what do we think is this that we can do and what is that we are not willing to accept. So I hope that the individual contribution that we make is critical, very important. And one of the things that, as you are aware, we have been doing is really working with faith leaders.
Yes.
Because 100% of Nigerians claim that they are either Muslims or traditional religion or whatever they do and other things. And every one of us, we, if I'm a Muslim, I make sure that I try to make sure that I pray 5 times in a day. And if I don't do that one, I feel very unhappy and other things. Our people who are identify themselves as Christians, they make sure that they go to church every Sunday. If there are meetings,
every day now, sir.
Every day now, so everywhere they do. So the question that we, as religious people and people will have to ask us is that, what does this faith say about our own behavior and attitude towards wrong things that we do, and especially around corruption and other things? Is this the Bible and the Quran that we read is only about bowing down and up and shouting, not shouting, but celebration God, or does it also say something about our own relationship with public resources, our own relationship with our neighbors, our relationship with what we do every day and other things or not? So I think that we have to take this as ourselves, and that's where, in my view, the faith leaders, I think they have a role to play, and I hope that they will also see that this is critical and very important. But also, I think that as we also work with the entertainment industry as well, because we also challenge them all the time,
to produce
content that makes sense, and not just to go and produce all these glamorous houses and glamorous people with glamorous cars and other things, and not questioning, where is these resources coming? Is it the right way, or that's the kind of thing that we should always be promoting our society.
So it's been like a holistic approach in tackling the issue around corruption for the foundation.
Yeah.
Okay, for the person listening, it's time for us to open the phone line so that you can join the conversation, and we want you to contribute. Tell us, how worried are you about the impact of corruption and its effects in Nigeria and how it's affecting Nigerians? Okay, we have our first caller. Hello. Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm glad to hear the golden voice of Mr. Ohiria Agbosuremi. My name is Isaac Taiwo.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to thank MacArthur Foundation for the support given to Primark and other civil society organizations. And I'm proud to say that my community is a beneficiary of this anti-corruption fight. Through the intervention of Primark, AEDC extortion in metering was able to resolve, and power supply also was improved, as well as infrastructural deficit that our community suffered for years. We got a voice through the platform, and I know it's a work in progress, and I'm very, very grateful. On behalf of the community, we are grateful to MacArthur Foundation and the management of Primark.
Hello.
Hello?
Could you turn down the volume of your radio set, please?
Okay, yeah. Speaking with Yusuf Abdelkader.
Yusuf from where?
Yusuf from Abuja.
Okay, how worried are you about the impacts of corruption in Nigeria?
Yes, corruption is very bad, and the one that to get all this country. So, in all our books in the Quran, there is certain things that mentioned in the Quran about the corruptions, and also we have to, but I'm happy because the issue, the problem of this country is that the policy that they're making, some policy that they're making that will make us to be corrupted. Hello?
Yeah, we're hearing you. Go ahead. Please round up.
Policy, please?
There is certain this will make us corruption, but now they try, to say the law enforcement, they make it to generate, they must generate money before they pay salary or get some allowance. So that is they are encouraging corruption, because in the foreign country what we have is if you do something wrong, there is advice that the law enforcement and other things supposed to give you instead of to make sure that you pay something. Like now in Abuja, when you get a traffic, the people that they catch you, police that they are catching on it, they try to collect something from you, or they will say they will carry you to their so that you will pay higher. So you try to give them corruption so that they will
All right.
Okay, thank you so much, Yusuf.
All right. Thank you very much. And
thank you, Yusuf, for your
we
contribution.
encourage you, if you are still listening, to not break the law. That is the first point of it. We should be good citizens. We should not break the law. And then I'm finding one shortcut to go out of it and corrupting our security personnel.
Let's take this other call.
Hello. Yes, please, can you put down the volume of your radio set, please? Oh yeah, go ahead. Please, your name.
Your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Yakubu. I call from Ecuador. Good morning, people there in the studio. I definitely, if you look at this, what you talk about corruption in Nigeria, I can say from the bottom line to the higher level, definitely nobody can say we already do something tangible to ourselves. Because I can recall from visit to Italy, I can see some of our people before, even my mom, when they want to go to the market, they can carry their bag full of green, put in the roadside and go and bath before they go and enter car. But if you carry even pin, you put from your hand now, before you know, somebody already carried it. So that's how corruption grew up. I talk of this now in the ministry. This morning, I hear one radio station that they carry their complaint every day for their money, more especially pensioner and the rest. They say they not pay them for 20 years, 15 years, 30 years.
We know how much it is not to pay salaries, and I also got your point that almost everybody is involved in this corruption work. We have people. A truck breaks down in Nigeria. Anywhere, whether it is carrying cement, whether it is carrying foodstuff, even if it is carrying petrol and it breaks down, people just take over and then begin to take over those products. And we want to ask, where is our dignity? Where have we gotten it wrong, actually, where we do not have sympathy for businessmen? The Edo State government, those days said, I think sometimes last year, they said it was palliative that the truck was carrying. And it broke down on the road, and they carted every bag of rice away. And the Edo State government says it's a businessman that owns that. It is not palliative.
So the citizens themselves
need to do. That's why the lesson we got from that last caller, that is we are all responsible. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and where you are calling from, please.
My name is John, but I'm calling from National Carolina.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, this issue about corruption, like the previous caller said, the corruption itself has spread. It's like a virus and has spread to every part of us in this country. If as a small business entrepreneur you want to start now, like we say, the policy put in place as is enhancing the system for corruption. You see all manner of sparks, people who want to collect tax, who can return from that one, that will come from that one. Like, for example, from the Benue State. If you are doing business on the Benue State, like me, as example, I was doing business of orange. They will tell you that they are what we call produce. To bring orange to Abuja, when you buy a bush of 500,000, you have to keep 300,000 to drive, tax, police, royalty, produce, all of those things. They are the corruption we are talking about. And there is no how a nation can progress with such a policy that are not helping the masses, that are not helping anybody.
Thank you very much. And I think you got the point, because the ICRO did a report on highway, extortion on the highways, which were amplified here from Maiduguri down to Port Harcourt. How the cost of goods are actually the cost of goods in the market rise as a result of the bribe that is given by those who are transporting it from one place to the other. We are talking about the people. We are talking about Nigerians. And Dr. College Shetima talked about the Nigerian people owing the project, this project we are talking about, owing the anti-corruption fight, and all of us doing what is right to get this done. And that one takes me, Doctor, to the issue of integrity, which is also part of what you supported. I know we work with Accountability Lab, and their job is just to fish out public servants, and they support other Nigerians. Just yesterday, an ASP in Lagos was given $100,000, and she rejected it, but collected the money all the way, to have evidence, and arrested the person who gave the bribe. We have had people who have come on this program, celebrated people, policemen who say they will never take bribe, and we have civil servants who have worked. Why was this integrity also a content in your talks about the All Nigeria project?
Yeah, I think because, when you look at our newspapers and when the headlines all the time is about the bad people in our country that are being projected and other things. But the truth of the matter, as you said, is that there are so many good people in this country, hardworking people who are doing their work. They are doing diligently their work. They are committed to their work, and they do it without any sense of selfishness and other things. And I think it is very important for us to also elevate, amplify these people, to show that not every Nigerian is a corrupt person. Not every Nigerian is involved in all kinds of 419 shady deals or criminality and other things. And that there are many people who are good, honest people who are working diligently to earn a living, and they are willing to stand up and do the right thing all the time. So I think that for us is try to say that, look, on one hand, people, we should identify and show the bad people, and they should be held accountable through our own criminal justice system. But on the other hand, as part of the behavioral change, it is very important to show that there are a number of good Nigerians who are doing the right thing, and therefore we should also show them as our role models, so that they don't see that all the people who are involved in Yahoo or the politicians whose job is just to steal money are the role models. Because the danger is that if we continue to project the bad people in our media organizations, in our entertainment industry all the time, our younger people will think that, oh, this is the role model, because that's the only thing that they know. And therefore, they may also grow up to imbibe that behavior, that bad behavior, and believe that that's the way in which only people can succeed in our society. But there are so many people, as I said, who are doing, hardworking people, who are doing the right thing throughout their lives. It's very difficult for them, very hard for them, but still, despite all the challenges, they are able to rise up to the occasion and do the right thing. So that's why we always also support the idea of amplifying the good people in our society, so that we can see that. Otherwise, if you now talk about police, everyone thinks that the police is a rotten organization.
No, they wouldn't believe that you can find one Francis Erabo who has never taken bribe in his career.
So that's why I think that we need to showcase, and there are many of those people who are in the police that I think we need to also highlight.
Even cleaners at the airport, drivers who see money in their taxi, and they try to look at one. It took him 3 days in Kano to locate the owner of the money that he forgot in his cab. So, sincerely, there are those Nigerians who are actually doing their job. But how much impact did this make in this All Nigeria project? This integrity that you...
I think that it is really also encouraging people to show that, there are this hard-working Nigerians that they want to emulate, I remember seeing some children play around this, and then they were... those children were reporting. I mean, there was this case of the work that Step Up was doing around children, integrity, and electoral process. And these children, these are just grade 4 or 5 children. They saw, wrong things in their own community, or politicians coming to bribe and other things, and they said, look, this is not what should be, and other things. So I think that this is also having an impact to show that there is role models. But we need to amplify more, because the sad thing is that the bad people role model is much more bigger and larger. And that's why we have to counter those people with good people that we can show in our society.
I think it has worked very well from our own perspective, looking at, because every day now, almost all the time, you see the media focusing on those good people at one point or the other when they do the good thing. So we track them, take them up, amplify them, and Nigerians are beginning to understand that when you do the good, people also know, and you get the space in the media.
Okay, Doctor, I'll take you back a little. Earlier we talked about the All Nigeria project ending in 2024.
Yes.
And 2024 is just
a month away.
Yes. So for the person who is listening, may be wondering, is the foundation leaving Nigeria? I would like you to respond to that.
Yeah, no. The foundation is not leaving Nigeria. Over the 30 years, the foundation have focused on so many different things. At some point, we are looking at population and reproductive health. That was a major area of the work that we do. In fact, when the office opened in Nigeria, that was the major focus of the work. We did a lot of work on the Niger Delta, especially during those difficult days around the oil companies, their operations and other things. We did a lot of work around human rights also at some point. We did a lot of work on universities at some point. We did a lot of work on girls' secondary education at some point. So this is just a normal set of transition that happens. And I think that, the thing is that, as one door closes, another opens. As one door closes, another opens. Now, it is possible that, those people who were in that door before may not be part of this new door, but that is how life is. Because, if that door was not closed, you wouldn't have been in the new one as well. So that is how life is actually. Yeah.
Was the all the projects you are doing, are these all centered in Nigeria, or you are working in other countries?
All the work is really, especially on the On Nigeria program, is really around Nigeria. But also, we did some work before, which were Africa-wide, like higher education work that we did. It affected all many universities and other things. But I also just want to say one or two things about some of the callers' statements.
Yes.
One of them is the point about bribing either people who are stopping you at traffic or not and other things. I think that there is solution, but whether we have the political will to implement it. Because I think that, in my belief, that technology can actually solve a lot of the problems. Because the less contact you have with public officials and you resort to technology, technology can contribute to solving a lot of the problems that we have in our thing. So all these people who are stopping you by the roadside and asking that, oh, you want to be charged and other things,
And then you break the traffic lights, they chase you and stop you.
Exactly, So if you have other forms of technology and other things, you don't even have to run into those kind of problems. You break, if you pass through or you violate anything, someone will have your own plate number,
your data,
and data and everything. They can check you, and you'll be fined, or you'll be taken to court automatically without even you having any contact with those people. And if you don't agree with what is there, you can contest what you are being accused of, or you don't have to go and pay someone face to face some money in order for you to pay a fine. Technology enables you to make use that you can online go and pay your other things. But unfortunately, our system is made in a way that they make it difficult for you even to take advantage of that one. They make the process so cumbersome, so difficult that you will say, oh, as the other person say, look, just let me give them the money and just go.
Yeah.
Because they will drag you and drag you and drag you and drag you into all kinds of things that will make you impatient. And therefore, when you become impatient, then you say, look, I have so many things I'm going to do in my life, and therefore, why don't I give the money and go
and just go.
So I think that part of the solution that we have to think about is the deployment of technology to reduce the human contact, so that that will also, I think, in my view, can contribute towards reduction of the corruption that we see in our society as well.
All right. We have had almost 1 hour now of conversation with the Africa Director of the MacArthur Foundation, Dr. Kole Shettima. You have one or two things to say?
Maybe perhaps a parting shot from you to the person listening in 30 seconds, Doctor.
The only thing I will say is that I think that fighting corruption is important and very important. Corruption is the biggest tax on poor people. Poor people are the ones who are bearing the brunt of corruption every day and every now. It is the reason why their children don't get access to education. It's the reason why they don't have quality education. It's the reason why their wives and their daughters and others die in mortuaries because of simple medication that could have been secured and saved their lives. It's the reason why we have terrible accidents where people are dying on our roads because the contractors that have been given the responsibility construct bad road, and then people run into accidents and other things. When you go to our orthopedic hospitals, you see so many people with broken limbs and broken arms and others. So I hope that people see the significance of corruption as the most important cancer that is eating deep into our society. It's the reason why our children live in this country, because they believe that unless they know somebody somewhere, they don't have opportunity to be who they are. It is our responsibility for all of us to do that one. And especially for those people who are in authority and power, I hope they realize that the only way in which this country can grow and be better than what it is they commit themselves to fight corruption.
Thank you. You have heard Dr. Kole Shetima. We must all commit ourselves to fighting corruption. And with this, we have come to the end of the program. Please visit our news website, primorgnews.org. That is primorgnews.org for all the details of our reports and interviews. Visit our website, www.primorg.org, to get all the information about Primorg.
And you can also watch our videos on Primorg TV, that's our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to get reminders when we have a new post, just like this one. We appreciate our guest, the director of MacArthur Foundation, Director Africa, MacArthur Foundation, Dr. Kole Shetima. Thank you so much, sir, again, for joining us on the program, and we appreciate you for the good work you are doing. And Public Conscience has the support of the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation on its website, mafound.org. And for you out there, join us again next week for another episode of Public Conscience. And remember to follow us on our Facebook, our X, that is formerly Twitter, and at our official Primorg, that is on our various social media platforms. I am Okiri Agbosuremi again. Thanks for joining us.
And remember that birth registration and birth certificates are free if your child is under 18. Help stop the corruption in birth registration and do not pay for birth certificates. Also remember that you can give us information or hints about corrupt acts through our phone at 090-2265-6167 or info@primorg.org. I am Adalbi Obiabumo. Thank you for listening.